And more now on Andy Burnham's first big speech as Labour leadership candidate, in which he promised London will be included in what he calls the biggest rebalancing of power our country has seen. He said Londoners have been left with an overheated economy and an overcrowded housing market. But opponents say the MP's promises are vague, especially when it comes to where the powers will go. Our political correspondent Simon Harris reports.
Nowhere was Andy Burnham's speech poured over more keenly than City Hall, and the man almost certain to be the next Prime Minister had this brutal assessment of life in the capital.
Londoners are left with an overheated economy and an overcrowded housing market.
His answer is to break up the Whitehall machine and transfer decision-making to local political leaders.
And yes, more powers for London too, over education and housing, so that London can do more for itself and remain the world's greatest capital city. And you heard that here from Manchester.
Burnham's promise of more devolution was welcomed by Sadiq Khan, who tweeted, "By empowering our cities, we can unlock growth, raise productivity and create well-paid, secure jobs that make a real difference in our communities."
London has had 3 mayors since the job was created in 2000. They've all wanted greater powers. But ministers and civil servants have always seemed reluctant to hand over control.
When the Mayor of London was being created in the run-up to 2000, the Home Office desperately didn't want to give away power over the police, and that's true of the whole of Whitehall. So I think the problem, the challenge that Andy Burnham will have, is not just in London but everywhere, is how to get these Whitehall departments to stop hoarding power.
The Mayor already has considerable powers over house building in London. His opponents say he's woefully failed to deliver the new homes needed and were sceptical about Burnham's pledges.
It's a lot of uncooked porridge, some warm words, not very much detail, and not really ready to do anything tangible. So if he's devolving taxes, is that going to be extra tax on top of all the other tax we already have? I don't think people will want that.
The Mayor and Transport for London are currently in advanced talks with ministers about taking control of Great Northern train services from Moorgate to Hertfordshire. It could be an early test of Prime Minister Burnham's commitment to devolution. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Next tonight, a teenage boy has drowned at Royal Victoria Dock. Police were called there yesterday afternoon. Our correspondent Simon Harris is in East London for us. Simon, what happened?
We've heard lots of warnings about not going into open water during the heatwave, but this tragedy, it seems, may not have been connected to the hot temperatures. It's believed the 13-year-old boy was playing football with school friends on this man-made beach at the western end of Royal Victoria Dock next to City Hall. One eyewitness, who asked not to be named, said their ball ended up in the water and the boy went after it. Now, this beach shelves gently for a while, but then suddenly drops to a depth of about 8 metres. And the witness said that the boy got into trouble and disappeared beneath the surface. His friends called the police. They were here within 10 minutes. The fire brigade launched a rescue boat, but it was only when the police helicopter was overhead that they were able to see where the boy was and pull him from the water, but he couldn't be resuscitated. Now, Royal Docks Waterways, which is responsible for the dock, said it was deeply saddened by what had happened and its thoughts were with the family and friends of those involved. In a statement, it said Royal Docks Waterways will continue to work with relevant partners to ensure the safety messaging around the docks is as clear as possible. But the only signs that we could see here are 2 very small ones either side of the dock, which say no swimming, and the letters are about 2 inches high, so quite difficult to read from the beach. And one local business, so concerned about what had happened, it's posted its own handwritten warning sign saying danger, deep water, and another which illustrates how quickly it gets deep.
OK, Simon, thank you very much. Good evening. 1 week on from the earthquakes in Venezuela, firefighters from London are sifting through rubble in the country as the hope of finding survivors slowly fades. More than 40,000 people are still missing and many more are trying to survive a growing humanitarian crisis. Venezuelans here are still hoping more people will be found alive and that desperately needed aid reaches the country soon. In a moment, we'll be speaking live to the London Fire Brigade in Venezuela. But first, our correspondent Simon Harris has this update.
These are the scenes which confronted London firefighters when they arrived in Venezuela, and they admit to being shocked. 15 kilometres north of Caracas, Britain's international search and rescue team is hard at work. 7 London firefighters are taking part in the search for survivors. But it's not the capital's only contribution.
¿Están haciendo inventario? Sí.
In a lock-up in Southwark, Sabrina, Albert and Andrea have volunteered to pack emergency aid parcels to send to the earthquake zone. London's Venezuelan community has been donating essential supplies.
This box is only hygiene products, but we also have baby bottles. We have cotton pads, we have simple things, toothbrush. You have to remember that there's a bunch of people that are homeless at the moment, so we're trying to cover basic necessities. I do have some people that went to university with me that didn't make it alive. I think each one of us at least knows somebody who knows somebody that is there. One of the girls that's been helping with us, her sister, she's alive, thank God, but her business is destroyed.
My brother is currently volunteering between Caracas and La Guaira actively, as in right now. So even though we're here, I'm just keeping in touch with them, just trying to see how can we help, new updates and everything.
These aid parcels are desperately needed, but will take time to arrive. On the ground, there is still urgent work to do to try to save more lives. Simon Harris, ITV News.